Now, if we're talking cult cars, there's one vehicle that'll immediately spring to mind, and love it or hate it, the Volkswagen Beetle is about as iconic as a car can be. This is one of the most popular and easily recognisable cars of the 20th century, and since its initial design in the 1930s, it's actually changed very little. Originally created as a cheap and reliable family vehicle, the car's popularity over the years has transformed the VW Beetle into a cult classic. In 1938, only 7 years after its original conception, the car was ready to be produced. Hitler had complete control in Germany by now and could demand anything he wanted. The person responsible for the Beetle's salvation was a British officer by the name of Major Ivan Hurst, who took up the little car's cause. The story goes that the Major was sent into the factory to dismantle an unexploded Allied bomb that had lodged itself between two pieces of equipment. While in the factory, the Major discovered a number of half-built cars, the remains of the car producing equipment and a few of the workers. Hurst struck upon the idea of restarting the production line so the cars could be used for the Allied forces that were stationed in Germany. With Porsche's 1939 design as a guide, the factory workers scavenged any undamaged materials and started to produce the car on machines that had survived the bombing raids. There was a lot of hard work to do to save this car, and many people thought that Hurst would not be able to pull it off. Ford told him that it was an awful car and not worth the trouble. Also Rootes, the now defunct motorcar manufacturer, described Hurst as a bloody fool for spending so much time on such an ugly and noisy car which they predicted would fail within the space of 2 years. Hurst ignored all the warnings, and his hard work eventually paid off when at the end of 1945, after one false start and at very low levels of production, Porsche's People's Car was launched. In just a few years, the car had gone from a speculative gamble made by piecing bits together off the floor of a part-bombed factory to a worldwide phenomenon. Remarkably, in 1958, against all the odds, and through tough competition from rival car manufacturers the world over, the Beetle was more popular than any other small vehicle in the US and Europe. The old-style Beetle lost out because of more modern-looking, safer cars with a better drive, and inevitably, Volkswagen needed a new direction for their old friend. The resulting journey that totally revolutionised the Beetle was the mastermind of two car designers working for Volkswagen in America, Freeman Thomas and Jay Mays. This new car was instantly recognisable. However, it was not the old Beetle rehashed with a slightly newer shape. It was a complete rethink of the original idea. The new Beetle retained the car's charm and character. However, it was totally updated for the modern driver who expected a more comfortable, responsive and altogether safer drive. The car-buying public of America were anxious for the release of this much publicised vehicle, and in 1998, almost 20 years after the last Beetle was sold in the USA, the new Beetle was released to an eager audience. Without doubt, the Volkswagen Beetle has enjoyed one of the most interesting and varied journeys of any car in automotive history, and it's a story that spanned well over 60 years. There's still no sign of it stopping in the future, distant or otherwise. The car may not be the phenomenon today that it once was. However, it's still loved and driven by millions.